sing at St. Joseph's. It's going to be something to sing about. Huh? Thanks be to God for our choir and our musicians. Well, it's the end of the year, as I just told our kids. Huh? We're actually getting to that point. So many things are pointing us in that direction. And this morning, as we look at the pictures that were painted for us by lessons that we heard as Kathy was reading those lessons for us just now, we see pictures that remind us not only that it's the end of the year, but we see pictures that remind us that when we talk about Christ the King, that we're also talking about a view and a glimpse towards the end of days. And so we see these glimpses, these descriptions of one who is called the Ancient of Days, the Ancient One who comes into the presence of Daniel and John in their apocalyptic writings. We hear about one who is called the Alpha and the Omega. You know, if we were in a church building, we'd probably have an Alpha and Omega here to point to, right? But in Greek, that's like A to Z, the beginning and the end. It stretches from as far as you can go to as far as you can get. Alpha and Omega. I love this description. It came up twice in Revelation. The one who is, and who was, and who is to come. It takes us right now and meets us here and today in the present, who is, and then goes all the way back in history, who was, and all the way stretched into the future that we cannot even begin to imagine or fathom, the one who is to come, the firstborn of the dead. To him be glory forever and ever. And you know, so much of our liturgy as Lutheran Christians come out of the book of Revelation that remind us that we give our praise and our glory to the one who lives forever and ever, who is this great King. As Revelation says, so it is to be. Key words there. So it is to be. There is a tense I found out recently in Hebrew that is called the prophetic present. The prophetic present is when you can talk about something that is still ahead of us, far and away, but you can talk about it like it exists right here and now. And when we hear these words, so it is to be, look around, right? Sometimes we say, look in our world. How is it now? It's not yet that which it is to be. Yet we know that what is to be will happen. And it will be. And maybe not in our lifetime. But we live today in what we call the now and the not yet. We live in our own reality as we recognize the King for all that He is. But we live in a world today that still feels so broken. And the gospel gives us a real picture of that, doesn't it? Who would think on Christ the King's Sunday that you would have this dialogue between two persons, one who is the King, the Alpha and the Omega, but he is standing before another who is no more than the appointed puppet of the Roman government that is overseeing life in Israel, even Pontius Pilate himself. And he stands there in all his pride and all his strength and all that he thinks that he is, standing in front of a man whom he sees as no more than a peasant who has come before him for crimes that he does not even know. And he asks this man, Pilate asks Jesus, are you the King of the Jews? Do you notice in the dialogue that continues that Jesus never gives him a direct answer. He never responds to the question as it is being posed. He gives him all kinds of other information, and it's not because he's trying to circumvent anything, it's because he's trying to help Pilate see what is going on. And so when Pilate says, "Are you the king?" Jesus says, "You say that I am the king, but I came for one purpose, and one purpose only, to testify to the truth. And everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." What a strange question you all asked each other just because I told you to. Huh? Do you belong to the truth? What a strange way of putting that, Carol, isn't it? I mean, what does it mean to belong to the truth? How do you even begin to answer that? I don't know who your favorite theologian is, but this morning I'm going to call on Paul Tillich for just a moment. Remember Paul? And Paul Tillich, who was now the late Paul Tillich, but was at Union Seminary, has an amazing sermon that is all about Jesus as the truth and belonging to the truth. You can find his sermon online, and I would love sometime to have somebody say, "Pastor, let's take this and sit down and just go through it, because it's so deep. And it's so powerful, and it's so insightful, but it's way more than we can do on a Sunday morning in a sermon." But he talks about that true religion has a role for us, for each one of us. He said that true religion's point is to point us beyond the teachings of Jesus, to point us beyond the doctrines of the church. It's to point us to the being of him whose being is the truth. And he says, and how do we reach this truth? How do you get to that kind of a place where you can understand the being of the one who is truth? I mean, come on, give me a break, right, Nancy? I mean, what are you talking about? He says the way that you get there is not by all the studying, though that's good to do. It's not about learning it all in your head and getting it all straight and being able to say, now I can spit out the answers. I live with a professor, and she has exams that she gives students, and she knows what she expects to get on those exams, the answers she's trying to get to them. But you know what? That is not how you come to know the truth. The only way that you get to know the truth is by doing it, by living it, by being in a relationship with the truth that is so deep that your whole being, your heart pounds with the truth. Your spirit breathes in and out the truth and the presence of God in such a way that you no longer have to stop and say, am I keeping all the rules? Am I keeping all the commandments? Am I doing everything right? Because your heart is in touch with God in such a way that you understand that to do right or to do wrong is not even the question. No, Pastor did not give everybody permission to do wrong just right now. No, that's not what it's about. The point is that when we live our lives in a way that is so connected to what God has given us, when our spirit is connected because of what we are doing and how we are giving ourselves into that truth, then when we do wrong, we just turn to God and say, I blew it again. Forgive me, Lord. And we receive that grace and we press on. Because what we have to do is to live into that reality so that we can make a difference in this world. Paul Tillich writes and says, by remaining in Him is the way that we become connected to God. Jesus says, abide in me, and I abide in you. The truth which liberates is the truth in which we participate, and it's part of us. Friends, that's some deep stuff. And That's a way of living that is more, more friends than just joining the church and becoming part of living faith. It means, how do we live our lifestyle? How does our lifestyle become such that other people will stop and say, without you saying a word, "Oh, what's up with Gisela? There's something about her. There's a glow about her. There's something happening in her." Oh, no. Wrong expression. Boy, if y'all could see. Boy, oh boy. Anyway, moving right along. What we can't do is keep truth out there. And I want to try to make this real this morning. Because in the aftermath of Paris, I've seen a lot of keeping the truth out there. I'll give you some examples. I heard on Weekend Edition with Michelle Martin. Now you can go and look at the podcast for what I'm about to share with you and check out what I'm saying to you. She had on yesterday a congressman. I believe it was a congressman. And he actually came with one of the parables that Jesus taught. You remember the parable of the wheat and the tares, the wheat and the weeds? Huh? And he said, he took that parable. Now you understand when Jesus was talking about that parable, it was about the farmer who planted the wheat, and it was growing, but then somebody came and planted weeds there as well. And the farmer was like, "What do I do? Let me tear it out." And the owner says, "What? No. Because you don't know what it is that you're tearing up. Let them both grow. Let them both come to fullness. And then when it's time, we can take the wheat and we can harvest it, and we can take the tares, the weeds, and we can burn them in the fire when we know." But the congressman somehow, I don't remember his name, I don't know who it was, said, he took that parable and he said that therefore we should not plant at all. We should just not even consider planting anything because it's too dangerous, he said. And we need to try to stay safe. And we need to try to keep things the way they are. Friends, do you know that you cannot live that way? He actually used that parable as a way of saying we cannot afford to allow Syrian refugees to come into this country because God knows there could be some weeds in there. And that was his parable to say why, as a Christian, we should not accept anyone else. I want to open for him an opportunity to engage with the truth in a relational way. Maybe you know this other parable that Jesus used, and the person who came up with this one didn't specifically specify, but you remember Jesus having 100 sheep one time? And he got to the point where he counted them all, and you know how many were there? 99. And so I heard a congressman saying this week that if you had 1,000 sheep, and one of them turned out to be a terrorist, then you better not let any of the 999 in either. And then he even went and said 10,000 sheep, and if you let one in that might be a terrorist, you shouldn't let the 9,999 in. My friends, what did Jesus do? When he had 100 sheep, and only 99 of them came, did he say, better send the 99 home? Better send them off someplace else? Maybe we'll put them in a camp somewhere where we can keep track of them, huh? No. Jesus went and said, let me go and find that one that's missing. And let me bring that one into the fold as well. And let me care for this one and love this one. And you know what even sometimes the shepherd would do for that one that kept running away? They'd break the legs of that sheep and then hold it so tight that the sheep would form a bond with the shepherd until its legs healed again, and then it wouldn't run away anymore. And so, folks, if we put the truth and keep it out there and don't connect with it and experience it, then we do not belong to the truth anymore. I am grateful this week. I meant to bring it with me, but Bishop Schaefer wrote a letter and he submitted it to a number of newspapers. I don't know if he submitted it to any around here, so I volunteered to help get it in the Sun Sentinel if he hasn't. But it did make it into the Tampa Bay Times. And it's a letter, it's an open letter. It talks about the many hats that he has worn, whether it be as a father, as a husband, or whether it be as a bishop or as a member of the board of Lutheran Services of Florida, which deals with refugee resettlement on a regular basis. And he writes and he says, I plead with Governor Scott to revisit and change his position on whether we here in Florida would receive immigrants for resettlement. Are we open to that? I want to ask you this morning, and if I can make this work, I'm going to show this to you in a video form that I can't even begin to express to you verbally. So let's see if we can get this working. But the question that I share with you this morning is, can I get this to work? No. Uh-oh, how did that even make up? It's off too? Yeah. It got no signal from here, so it said enough. Thank God for being my troubleshooter, Jim. We tried this before, right?
Kick it. That's how I fix everything. I kick it. Well, turn it off. Maybe it doesn't work yet.
I just read something. There you go.
There you have it.
Is it on there? There we go.
I will edit that out. Recording.
There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. Open yourself this morning and ask yourself, what does it mean to belong to the truth, to participate in and with the truth? Ask yourself this morning as you watch this video, where you see the face and the presence of King Jesus.
Fire away!
refugees that have arrived in Greece or arrived in Europe arrive here on this island. So these beaches are where, sometimes 60 to 70 boats will land here per day. Most of them have fled countries of conflict. They left all their belongings. Some of them have left even family members behind. They just flee for their own safety, and they flee for the hope of a better life. I can't even imagine leaving everything I know and coming to a place on a little raft. You have no idea whether you're going to be welcomed, or you're going to be thrown in prison, or you're going to be, you just have no idea what to expect.
A lot of the moms are very visibly afraid. To me, ending someone else's child that's really a point to be responsible to care for them, even for that brief moment.
It was hard to see children coming off soaking wet. Yesterday we saw a baby come in with a baby who was just 1 month old on it. And I just can't imagine a mom who gets on a boat like that that's so unsafe with their 1 month old infant, and how afraid she must have been that something would happen. And actually I was just fearful that they're not going to make it because they're going to die of hypothermia before they get anywhere safe. So I think it just epitomizes the desperation that we see in this situation that we find ourselves in.
They know about the border crossing. They know about what's happening to get hungry, about getting tear gassed, and about getting stopped at the border. They know about boats crashing out here. Just yesterday, a boat was lost out at sea and people died. Almost every day one of these boats doesn't make it to shore.
They're traumatized by what has already been such a long journey that they've been through, and what will
Land and safe, that the reality of what lies ahead isn't really registering. So I think they realise that they now have several weeks' journey trying to get through Europe to their destination, and that journey is not going to be easy.
Is one of the refugee transit points that the refugees wait before moving on with their journey.
She's 4 months pregnant, is that right? 4 months? Yes. Yeah.
And why is she afraid she might be losing the baby?
I'm just cleaning the wound. He's trodden on a nail. It's gone quite deep. The most important thing is that he goes to a pharmacy now and gets a tetanus vaccination. She's just sprained her ankle, probably by walking or maybe when she got out of the boat. Has she got the baby kicked yet? No flutter? Then the baby's okay.
We are the first faces that they see when they land. Probably a lot of them have never even met a Christian. When they land on this beach, we're happy that we can be here and be here as part of that first step. And be here to just show them that there's Christian people that love them. As they continue their journey along the way, they'll meet other people from Samaritan's Purse and other countries, and they'll remember us. I've never done anything like this. This is extremely special for being here.